Hey, hi, I'm glad you can make it. I hear history is giving you a little bit of trouble this semester. All right, well, don't worry about it. We will navigate this together. Yeah, I know. It's a bunch of dates, and that's hard to remember. Numbers, random numbers are hard to remember. But they do become easier when you think of it in terms of stories. And frankly, history is about the stories. It's not about the dates. It's not about when things happened so much as why they happened. And when you know the why they happened, you can usually know the when to an extent, right? Like if you have one frame of reference, then you can figure out from that point whether something happened before or after. And a lot of your teachers, this teacher in particular, will give you multiple choice. So you'll be able to pick the one by knowing kind of when other things happened. For instance, all right, you don't need to know when the Civil War happened, right? But you know it happened after the Revolutionary War. And so the Revolutionary War was 1776. We all know that, right? Okay, good. So if I were to give you a multiple choice and say, when was the Civil War? Was it 1760 or was it 1951? You would be like, no. It came after the 1776, and it was certainly not 1951. That's when I Love Lucy came out. So you know that it's probably the 1861 option. So from there, we just narrow it down a little bit. Give ourselves more frames of reference in between those 3 points: the American Revolution, the Civil War, and I Love Lucy. Like, when did Andrew Johnson become president? Well, he replaced Lincoln. So you know that Lincoln was the president during the Civil War, which was 1861. So clearly it was not before 1861. You've just narrowed it down a little bit more. I know it sounds like I'm oversimplifying, and right now I am, because it's the premise that I want you to grasp onto. When you're in these classes, you're not going to have to remember every single date. You're just going to have to remember a couple of frames of references, and then the stories will tell you the order in which things happened. Sometimes you know more than you think you do. Like, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, right? But I saw A New Hope. And from that one quote from Leia, and she's the hologram, you know the one, "Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope." She says, "Years ago, you fought with my father in the Clone Wars. So I know that the Clone Wars comes before A New Hope. And I know that the Clone Wars comes before the dude turns into Darth Vader. And I also know that she says that inside this droid are the plans vital to the rebellion, and I know that those plans are the map to the Death Star, right? So I now also know that Rogue One was about getting those plans, so that had to come before A New Hope. And A New Hope is year 0 in that timeline, so that means that Rogue One had to be like the 1 BC of that timeline, and the Clone Wars probably would have been like a couple of decades before that. So the only movie I actually saw was A New Hope, and I just happen to know that that is year 0 in that timeline because that's easy to remember. The rest of it I can all guess or extrapolate. Oh, and I also know that the Empire would have come after the Clone Wars, I think. Yeah, see? I know all kinds of stuff about Star Wars having seen one movie. I'm practically a fucking expert on Star Wars history. But, my point being still remains. I only know A New Hope started in year 0, and I only know anything really about A New Hope. The rest I could all kind of guess if you gave me multiple choice. And if I'd seen those movies and those shows, then I would know even better what came when. Because it's the stories, and the stories tell you what order things came in. You don't get the Empire without the Clone Wars. You don't get Rogue One without the Empire. You don't get Princess Leia in A New Hope without Rogue One. Solo? Well, okay. The actor who plays Solo looks to be about 10 years younger than the actor who played Han Solo in A New Hope, so I'm going to guess Solo took place about 10 years before A New Hope, give or take. 13 to 10 BBY? Okay. What is BBY? Before the Battle of Yavin? Is that what you said, Yavin? Okay, I don't know that one. But clearly it had something to do with A New Hope, because that is when A New Hope is set. So that would have been what set all of this off? Oh, okay, that was called the Battle of Yavin. I did not realize it. Was it called that in the movie? Oh, gotcha. Okay, well then, that's one more thing I know about Star Wars. And I will be more likely to retain it because it's just the name of something that I already knew very well about Star Wars. Well, okay, I guess I didn't know it very well, but the thing I knew most about Star Wars. Okay, so I take it then that you really like Star Wars, huh? Oh, do you? No, I've never been to a Star Wars convention. I'm sorry. Did you just say you're a Mando Merc? You're gonna have to spell that one out for me. Oh, so like roleplay, like LARPing? Mandalorian costume club? Gotcha. Okay. So what kind of things do you do then? Not gonna lie, paintball sounds fun. You know, actually, if you like that kind of thing, there's this historical reenactment festival this weekend. It's a bunch of people go out and dress in costume, and they have mock battles, and they set up camp, and they just sort of live the life. They'll do colonial era crafts and wear colonial era clothes and eat colonial era foods and participate in colonial era entertainments. Well, crafting. Crafting was their entertainment and production. Oh, well, not gonna lie, there's a lot of drum and fife playing. But there's also a lot of playing games, sitting around and talking, doing crafts. I'm going to be doing that this weekend, and if you'd like to join me, it can be a good way to get a sense of what it might have been like. A little bit of what they were experiencing without the danger. I mean, obviously it's never going to be exactly the same, aside from the ability to dip out if things get too cold or too uncomfortable or just boring. We also have amenities like porta potties and showers at the campground where we go do it. So, what I'm saying is, if you'd like to join, it could be fun, and it does make it a little easier to visualize what all of these characters in our history were going through, what the world would have looked like to them, what it would have felt like to them. And I defy you to forget any of the details of a battle that you saw with your own eyes and heard with your own ears, even if it was a reenactment. From there, you've got one more point of reference. Oh, well, you don't have to stay for the whole weekend. You can come and go as you please. But if you'd like to stay for the whole weekend, I've got a pretty big tent. I mean, not like a new kind of tent. It's an historic reenactment tent. So it's like 10 feet by 10 feet, and it looks like a little white house of white cloth hung on wooden poles. I wouldn't mind the help setting it up, actually. There's plenty of room for 2 camp beds. Oh, I mean, you could sleep in the sleeping bag. Most soldiers at the time wouldn't have bothered with a sleeping bag. They would have just put down a blanket if they had it. A lot of times they would just lay down on their own coats. Well, they would keep warm by sleeping around a fire, or if they had tents, they would spoon. Yeah, it was what they did to keep warm. Sharing blankets. You can each have 1 blanket, or you can huddle together under 2 blankets. I mean, plus their tents were pretty small. The kind of tent that I have, the wall tent, that would have been reserved for officers at the time, but 21st century Americans are a lot of candy asses, so you will see a lot of wall tents at that festival. But yeah, camp beds were a thing. They kind of folded up, broke down. There are a few examples of ones that come out of trunks, folding out like sleeper sofas. It's kind of cool. Well, yeah, I do like it. I like it a lot. I mean, you get it. Is it really all that different from what you do with the Mando mercs? Okay, well, yeah, it's fiction, but you still have your traditions, you have your history, you have your timelines. It's as we've established, not that different. Exactly. You'll go on what condition? Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know anything about the Star Wars. We've established that. Like, I only know a little bit. That is true. That is true. I would be as lost in the Star Wars timeline as you are in American history. Okay. Okay. You've got a deal then. You come with me to this festival, and I will join you on one of your sci-fi training thingies. Yes, I will learn the lingo, I promise. Okay, but first, the historic reenactment, you also have some learning to do before we go. It'll make it easier, though, because, I mean, it'll be more pertinent to you now. You're about to go see some of these battles reenacted. It'll make it more interesting for you, and it'll make it more interesting for you when you're there and you know what all of this was about beforehand. Okay, we're going to go over the first 3 big campaigns in the American Revolution, right? You'll be able to remember them because you played Fallout 4, haven't you? Yes, you have. All right, so there's the Battles of Lexington and Concord was the first. Exactly. And then Ticonderoga. Ticonderoga, you can remember because the pencils, all the yellow pencils are all Ticonderoga pencils. Always bring a number 2 yellow pencil with you to this class. It will help you remember the Battle of Fort Ticonderoga is going to come up on a lot of questions. Think pencils. And then there was the Battle of... Yes, Bunker Hill, exactly. Fallout. Thank you, Fallout. And it's in order. They happened in April, May, and June. That'll be easy to remember because it's the 3 months preceding this one, right? Okay, there's your point of reference. Now what year? Your next point of reference is that all of these things preceded us becoming a country. And what year did we become a country? Exactly 1776. So this happened in April, May, and June of 1775. You've got it. See, you are on your way. And I actually happen to know that these are going to be on your test. Oh yeah, because I took the same class from the same teacher. No, I'm not going to just give you the answers. I mean, I am giving you the answers, but I'm not going to just give you the answers. Yeah, nice try, though. I'll give you that. Nice try. Anyway. Hey there, Cupcakes. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the story. I also hope you clicked on that subscribe button if you haven't, because that helps me a lot. You know what else helps me a lot? Wonderful patrons, like my newest Manlion and Plebe. Manlion, who I almost pronounced Manlion, but Manlion. And it's so very nice to have you with us. Of course, I would like to thank those who support me so very much. My bakers and pancakes, known to their friends as... Okay, well, friend. Me. Known to me. I'm their friend. Known to each other. As Lonely Skater Wolf, this time El Sundry, Nasty, Rogue Scholar, Barry Wilburn, Estede Anon, SLE Photo, Harper Evolution, Wolf 9004, Vile Miles, Succubus Slave, Malice Silo, Army Guy 007, Mr. Fabulous, Bunny, Tiny the Taxman, Meryl, Inline Flaws, Onin, Darth Mythos, Red Death 48, Always Able, Moon, Old Bean UK, Kahlua Bear, Forces, The Swaggy Llama, Cody, Artlow, Pierce Tailish, and Christian Cleopatra. And actually, those are just a few of the people who will be getting my patron exclusive audios that are a little bit too spicy for YouTube. I'll be posting another one tomorrow. I hope you will join me there. In the meantime, I also hope you will be as good to yourselves as you are to me. And I will talk to you on Tuesday.